Change will come to those who have no fear. But I am not hurt.
Hello, I am Peyton Guthrie. To my left, as always, as we always do this, time and time again, in a flat circle, Nick Grohl. And today, I think we are sharing a disappointing episode with you guys, talking about episode 6. I'm going to dive in real fast. What is this bullshit? Just seriously, I'm.
You got to give me a little bit more.
I'm sorry. It hurts me. I mean,
Okay.
not that it hurts me. You can see so much that it's wanting to do, and I think it picked every single easy trope it could, and it thought, oh, what I'm going to do is twist it on its head. But in reality, the only twists they're making are twists that have already been made.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you really look at the end of the episode. I mean, that's where a lot of the sins kind of happened, where you saw pretty much all of their answers come to them through all the tropes of a James Bond movie. You know, they sneak into the place where the orgy's going on, and then they somehow are able to evade all these bodyguards of 3,
Yeah, true.
and then get in, steal the papers, because, you know, that's how people do. They just put the paper in a dresser, you know, somewhere, or a desk, excuse me. And then the fact that they got away so easily, you know, it was very easy. And there might be a reason that they got away so easily. That would be good writing, but we don't know that. And so far this season, it's been up and down a lot, so we don't really know. And this episode was really a perfect example of the ups and downs, where you had good development with Ray and
Yes.
Frank. You know, we didn't get a lot with Taylor's character, Paul. And Annie, she kind of had a development that kind of came out of nowhere, in a sense to me. The whole childhood rape thing that kind of came, it really didn't. I mean, there's seeds planted of her having a lot of sexual issues going on, but nothing that led you to think, oh, she was raped as a kid. And there was no hint of that. It was, maybe she's just into that. I don't know, but...
So you have a show, you play on the trope, talking about to the viewer, you're playing on a trope of a girl who was molested as a small child, which then has an accelerated sex drive, and then comes to terms with it during an orgy.
Peyton is frustrated.
And that's the sad thing. It's like you can see where promise was. You can see the potential of all of this.
Because she was supposed to be the response to last season, where it's
Yes.
like, oh, you don't have great female characters. And she was. She was up until this point, and then you kind of threw the rug out from everybody when you said, and we're going to go with this trope.
Yep.
Because that was the whole idea, was at the beginning, yes, they were all sort of archetypes, but as the further we dove into the season, the more they became less of that. But doing this episode kind of, for Annie especially, just kind of took us back to square one to a sense.
You know what show has a good character, a good female character, while also being inundated with sexist, feminist controversy? Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Tons of very poor decisions. They have a very poor decision of a rape scene, in my mind, during last season.
Yeah.
Its treatment in women, just in general, are pretty bad. But at the same time, it does have some strong female characters, obviously, the Queen Cersei and everything.
Yeah.
Brienne, is that her name?
Brienne, yeah.
Yeah,
Brienne
she's
of
basically running around with a lightsaber, chopping people's heads off left and right. And then you have Annie, who was, even though of all the talk and practicing the knives during the middle of the episode and stuff, I mean, she cuts the dude up, but at the same time, the dude's like knocks her hand away and just lifts
And
her
it
up.
becomes immediately obvious that this
I'm
was her
helpless.
first kill.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she reacts that way. And, I mean, we kind of saw hints of that in the shootout episode a few weeks ago, because both her and Ray were like, what have we done? Oh, my gosh. And then Paul's over there just being like, yeah, we shot some people. I've seen worse.
Sex is pretty cool.
Yeah. I'm going to play video games later. So I want to join.
Oh, man.
But, yeah, because Vince Vaughn's actually, I feel like this has been Vince Vaughn's best episode. That's how I felt. I felt like he's finally entered that zone, because he's got the whole gangster thing down. And we say gangster, but that's essentially what he is. And to say gangster is to kind of put him into a mold of sorts, because of all the characters that are fighting against the stereotype. He's probably one of them that's doing it a good job of it, because he's not like your other gangsters, you know.
I mean,
He's very business-minded in a sense that makes sense.
Oh,
Like when he's sitting there discussing with the two guys, he's sitting there saying, you can have this, and then we're going to renegotiate in a year. It's like, you don't really see that with they just say, this is the way it's going to be, and you're like, well, that doesn't make a lot of sense. And then the fact that he's saying, like, we'll talk about this later, we'll see how this goes, it's like, that's smart.
Yeah. But, I mean, at the same time, he's also a tired trope. He's the bad guy with a heart of gold trying to strive forward. Even though he's doing these bad things, at the end of the episode, he's still in a poorly acted part. Why'd you do that to the girl?
Yeah.
You know? And so you can tell another guy's like Frank, who I don't think we've ever heard him speak at all. No. So you can tell that was supposed to be like a signature of Frank's really pissed off, but we got to get out of here.
Yeah.
And that just comes out of the blue, you know? Mm-hmm. He'd never shown any remorse whatsoever towards women. He was having fights with his girlfriend and stuff. You know, he's running girls to his clubs.
Because really the only people we've seen him have any compassion for was Ray, and his wife, and then the boy from earlier in the episode.
Which I did like some of the stuff. Whoever directed that scene, they set Ray down. They're sitting outside, and Ray's sitting right in front of a dead tree. I thought that was a really nice touch. Just the idea of that foreshadowing, that death that's around him, and the death that's kind of falling around all the characters. The show is still visually interesting. There's still a lot of things happening. I really liked the orgy scene, what it looked like, even though it was like the tamest orgy scene of all time.
I enjoyed it because it wasn't like, let's show you, let's turn this into a softcore porn. It was like, yes, we're in an orgy.
I was thinking like Eyes Wide Shut or something. I thought it would be
a little more
just decadent, you know?
Because it definitely hinted at that. I mean, that's anytime you have a situation where high society people, old men having sex with young illegals, you know, or whatever, that's kind of what you're going to point towards.
Yeah, 8, 7, make the 10s.
The music choice really kind of threw me out a little bit. And I get that it's like she had the Molly, she was kind of out in a weird trance state of mind. But at the same time, the fact that this whole season we've never had an orchestra. And then also it's just like this sweeping 1940s or 50s orchestra going on. And we've had moments of weirdness, like the episode after the fake out that was Ray's death scene.
Yes.
You know,
still the best scene in this season.
So
far,
it's not like there hasn't been precedent of the weirdness, a Lynch. Is that?
Yeah, David Lynch.
David Lynch kind of ism, but because it made sense when we were in her mind, but when we were outside with Ray and Taylor, it was just kind of like, why is this still going?
Yeah, that was weird. Yeah, you can tell. I don't want to insult this dude because obviously he's smart. He's got this stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it was a failed juxtaposition. You know, you tried like here's the hardcore tactical part of everything that's happening outside, where we beat up 2 dudes, and then that's it really. And you're inside stumbling around on a Molly.
It just felt out of place.
And that scene where the dude smoked.
It just felt out of place with the tone that they've created for the show.
Yes, it was poor. It was poor. It seemed like somebody is going unchecked, thinking, "Look at all these cool things we can do."
The thing, it's cool, and they'll be like, "Oh, dude."
And instead of focusing on the 4 or 5 things that you need to focus on to make the season good, it's just I think he stretched itself too thin. Honestly, that's what happened. I mean, we've got 4 main characters, many sub characters. It just stretched too thin, not enough time.
Right. Where do you think it's going to go?
Where I think it's going to go? They're all going to get into a big shootout or something. I mean, it's hard for me to.
Do you think they'll?
Crow dude. I think the Crow dude is what's his face?
Ray's boss.
Frank's friend.
The one that's always on his side.
I think that's Crow dude.
Okay.
I think he's maybe.
But
maybe he.
We don't
it
really
all
have
seems
a lot
like
of
it's going
detail.
to a Deus
All we know
Ex.
is that he could be a cop. He's a tall white dude. There was no hair color, no eye color, nothing else was giving to us. It was very shallow.
Skinny.
Yes, skinny.
So.
And that's pretty much it. It seems like they got away too easy, obviously.
Yes.
If they're smart about their writing, there'll probably be some consequences for that. It seemed like in the tease that they were going to have some issues, obviously. With 2 episodes left, we figured out to an extent what's going on overall, but in terms of who killed him and the whodunit of it all, we still haven't figured that out. And so there's still that to be found. But I'm concerned that they're going to follow the trope and just kind of pull a Chinatown and just screw everyone over and be like, well, that's just the way it is. And it's like,
Yeah, either Chinatown or I was thinking it's going to be more of like a Deus Ex Machina. It's going to be
something's
like,
gonna come in.
here it is.
Yeah.
Here's all the answers. We fixed it. Like every single Batman show.
Because while the first season, had a positive ending, it was still shrouded in all the uncertainty
Just a
that
little,
Matthew
and
McConaughey.
sadness
Yeah.
as well. But that was already taken care of. Like its last episode had time for you to kind of deal with the show being over. Yeah. And I don't see them having time to do that. I think they're still going to be up to the last 5 minutes with a gun in a hand,
trying to get us all caught up, basically. Because that's the one thing that I've noticed myself and then other people have been, and when they're watching, is that it's just hard to keep up with it. There's just so much going on. Whereas first season, it was 2 guys. This is what's going on. And now it's 4 guys, 4 people, all of their head honchos and people underneath them, and what's going on, and this gang war or this group coming in. And so it's just a lot of plot threads that are coming around.
And it's just strange. Like obviously the Crow dude, I don't know, because the guy who asked Vince Frank to find the hard drive is at the party signing the stuff with the Russian guy, and the skinny dude's there. I can't remember his name. So they all know they killed Casper. We know that, but they don't know who took the hard drive.
That's true.
So either the skinny dude's doubling down and took the hard drive, or somebody else that we have no idea
It's
what.
Matt Damon. That son of a bitch.
It's gonna be McConaughey. He's gonna be sitting there, just sitting there cutting up Lone Star cans. Just like I fucking did it. But came to a, much like this episode came to a very wet, sad ending. But this is Peyton Guthrie, Nick Grohl. Join us next week as we talk about episode 7 and the home stretch, episode 8 after that. Stay tuned to the channel until then. We'll have some new things coming up pretty soon. We're going to have some other content creators interviewing them. I'll also be making a triumphant return to a wrestling ring in Tulsa. We're going to try to capture that and do some cool vlogging and see what happens. So until then.
Fighting for the only thing